Hello there, this is Bridget Beckwith, and I'm here today to talk to you about how design thinking helped me to create Duty Swap. So, what is design thinking? Design thinking is a process of looking beyond what's obvious to analyze a problem in more depth. The goal is to create new and innovative solutions to a problem by identifying with whomever the problem affects. How does design thinking work? Well, there are 5 steps involved in the process. Empathizing. This process allows you to understand the feelings and impact a problem has on people. Define. This is when you describe the problem based on the information that you gathered from the people that you empathized with. Ideate. This is brainstorming and stretching your thoughts to create solutions that will solve specific problems you defined. Prototype. This is when you choose the best idea and create a solution that will help the end user you empathized with. And testing. This is how you explore how well the prototype works. So how I applied design thinking to my problem was first, step 1, the empathize. In order to solve my problem, first I had to identify what the true problem was. So at first glance, it seemed we had this coworker who was lazy or maybe incapable of doing her duties properly. And after applying the first step in completing the empathizing, I was able to identify more detailed reasons and understanding of what the underlying issues really were. So after empathizing with many people at work, I was able to understand the problem in more depth, which helped me to proceed to step 2. Step 2, for define, I was able to understand from talking with different people what they saw the problem to be. I understood how everything affected different people and why. And employees are hired for jobs that require specific skills. So then often people are hired for positions but have skill sets better suited for other jobs. So through all these gatherings, I came up with one point of view statement that would identify and define my problem. I came up with poor job fit to define we need a process that better identifies aptitudes and tracks developing interests and skills to adjust job duties that will suit each individual employee. So that brings me to step 3 for ideate. Here is where I threw all my ideas and thoughts down on paper to create different solutions. This is where you want to open up and be creative. Try and expand your comfort zone to include all kinds of possibilities. I was able to come up with many solutions and ideas that could all be turned into something useful for the users. Some of the craziest ideas can turn out to be the most innovative solutions. So for step 4, I decided I would choose one of the solutions and I would create a prototype that was most fun and kind of unexpected. This was so I could help engage and hold the interest of the people who will be using the tool. I want to experiment with ideas to work through potential difficulties. The solution I created to prototype is called Duty Swap. I believe it is a good way for each employee to get involved in helping identify aptitudes and track developing interests and skills that will suit the individual employees. Duty Swap can be integrated in different ways to best suit a specific environment. It could be a game or it could be used as a cross-training tool. Step 5 would be testing. Testing is very important. Testing allows the end users to actually test out what you've created and see how or if it even works. So I gave my prototype to people at the office to see what they thought. I got some good results. Actually, people were very interested and liked the idea. The testing allowed me to identify any weak areas of instructions for using the tool as a game and also helped me establish provisions for any what-if situations. And I then produced a refurbished prototype that I could retest on different people. So having others look at my design really helped see the missing pieces or the steps that I didn't notice. Sometimes when you're too close to a project, you've got to take a step back and have someone else look at it and see it through different eyes. This helped me refine the prototype and my solution. Okay, so my final product. I came up with something called Let's Swap It. I put on here what it really was. So Project Duty Swap was designed to share knowledge, explore interests, discover aptitudes, and track performance of our team. Our goal is to identify individual skills and ensure we're utilizing all employees in areas that they excel at and have an interest in. So how it works, I went into some details here. I don't know if I really need to walk through all of them, but I gave some descriptions very specific of where you start. You bring a job or duty to a meeting, you list your interests, how you go about designating the jobs can be very creative and it can be changed for each user. I chose kind of a round robin style for an example so that each person names and picks things one at a time going around the room. The swap would last for however long people chose, whether it be 1 month or 3 months. Training and explanations could be set up after things are chosen. Feedback would be given at the end of the project and the experiment so that people could identify their aptitudes at that point and track their performance with an evaluation of the experience from both sides. Recommendations can be given for changes, improvements, or discussions on permanent exchanges. I included some rules of conduct at the bottom so people would understand how they should follow these rules. Like, parties should not be released from duties that they just don't like. They should fully commit to these. This isn't about failure or succeeding. It's about trying something new and just finding out what's going to work for everybody. Feedback is very essential in the process. So we're looking to explore interest and discover things. So there is no right or wrong. And, I just added in, people are really expected to follow these rules. So there's probably a little room for changing in there per goal, per how you choose to use this, whether you choose to have this be a yearly game at your job or whether somebody actually wants to take this and make it a cross-training tool they can use with the employees. So questions about the solution that would still need to be answered, I think, would be more defined outcomes. So things like, how will you use and integrate the identified aptitudes or interests? Will people be required to help out in specific areas more often after this? Can employees hand off duties without interrupting their SJDs or their supplemental job descriptions already? How will you apply individual duty swap performance to each employee's positions? So basically, how are we going to utilize this tool when it's done? And I think this process should be tailored to individual needs. How you answer each of these questions will depend on the reasons you chose to use the solution I created in the first place. For example, you do not have to change job descriptions permanently, but you could. You could incorporate performance on the duty swap into evaluations to help assign future tasks. So there's a lot of different ways you can integrate those questions and really tailor this whole experiment or experience to fit into what you need for your job. So since duty swap can be used for a cross-training tool or a way to identify and utilize skills, each user should know before they begin what their desired outcome will be. So what are you looking for here? Do you want to identify employees to help with jobs? Do you need more people capable of performing specific duties? Are you looking to alleviate some heavy workloads for some people? Could some employees be capable of more duties? Are you looking to keep the office workflow more positive and less repetitive? My experience with the design thinking. Well, by learning and walking through each of these individual steps in the process, I really feel I've developed a better understanding of how thorough and specific you need to be in order to solve a problem. Just thinking of ideas or solutions is not what solves problems. I've learned that it is a group effort overall, and not any one person makes a design and a solution. Even if there's one designer, many thoughts and ideas are behind the scenes that you can't see that go into a product, from empathy all the way to testing. So for me, this process will always keep me humble when I have an idea and thought at work. I will remember to thank all the individuals involved and never take full credit for any product or idea, because chances are it probably wasn't all my idea. I hope to always acknowledge anyone and everyone that helped make a solution a tangible product. I also hope to never forget to utilize this tool when I'm tackling a big project. Remembering to visit all of the steps in this process could be the difference in a good project or a great project. So showcasing my prototype. I created a website that will explain why and how and what the solution to my problem is all about. I decided on 4 pages total. That has a homepage, an About Duty Swap page, a blog page, and then a contact page. This keeps things simple and to the point. I decided that I would try to capture the interest with pleasing pictures, text, and a simple design. I want to maximize the scanning style of viewers when they look at a website and scatter content in kind of a zigzag pattern to hold their interest. I'm going to use large print on this in some areas and then smaller print on others because you don't want all the information to be the same size for when they are doing their scanning with their eyes. You want to draw them and lead them into certain directions. And all the pictures need to keep with my overall theme of the concept behind my project, and they're describing and what I'm really promoting. So here's my page 1. I had to shrink it down a little bit, but I'm going to try to walk you through on the left side here. We have my first page. Page 1 is to capture the interest. I have my large banner that continues on every page with the title. Large print to start, to tell people, this is what Duty Swap is and give a little bit about what it's for. All the pictures represent kind of teamwork and cohesiveness for my overall theme. This should leave people wondering after they read this section how it works and why it was created. Just telling them the what leaves them wanting a little bit more. So then I clearly direct them with my verbal words to check out the next page to get some more detail. So that brings them right into page 2. So page 2, About Duty Swap. Here, I had to fit a lot of information here. So again, it was at the top. I cropped it out, but it's the same as before. It's the same banner and title. And then in large print, I let people know this is where you read more details about how it works. So I kind of showcase the prototype right there, and they can read everything it's about right there. But I follow that afterwards and tell how Duty Swap was created. So I can give my readers an idea of the process that my prototype had to go through. I talked a little bit about, that there was a problem at work and what I did to solve it. And then I do tap in a little bit on the design thinking process so people understand, those steps there. I included pictures here too to break up the reading, and each one further explains. If you click, it's kind of their scrolling pictures here. Each one has a different photo and kind of explains its uses and purpose a little bit better. Last, I have a large print coaxing readers to read the blog so they can kind of see. It says, take a look at our blog and see what others are saying. That's definitely a leader to keep them going on to the next page. And so here is a picture of the blog that I created. It has I had a local manager that I had talked to for another department. And he manages quite a few people. So I kind of took his opinion and his thoughts when he tested the prototype for my solution. And I used it to be a little bit of like an endorsement so he could talk about, his thoughts on the tool that I created. And he actually was the one that came up with a different use for it and made me see that there were more than one uses that could be created out of this one tool that shows that my prototype can be used in another way. He thought it would be very useful in his team where they didn't have a lot of collaboration and cohesiveness, and people didn't want to share their duties. And so my blog talks a little bit about that, how this would encourage or force, even, if you will, some of the employees to let go, because cross-training is very important, because if somebody's hit by a bus tomorrow, no one else can do their job. So again, just to reinforce, the blog just directs people in another place to kind of, eventually there would be more blogs in real life, but that's page 3. And so my last page, I did a contact page. Again, title page at the top, large title, picture. And this is a spot where, if you have questions or suggestions. So anybody that had looked at it, I would definitely welcome further kind of prototyping or testing that people want to do, and let me know their thoughts and how it worked or didn't work, and what changes they might make, or whether they liked it, I thought it was a good idea. So I just put the map in there also to just be a little more visual. People, it's not a real place. Well, it is a real place, but it's not really where I am. It's down the street somewhere, but just people would like in general to have an idea of where things are located. And then some more visuals, just again, reinforcing the whole supporting pictures. So that's it. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for checking it out.